This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Welcome to the Hockeytown West podcast, your home for all things Grand Rapids Griffins, Toledo Walleye, and the future of the Detroit Red Wings. I'm one of your hosts, Nick.
And I'm Travis.
And we have no Brandon.
Yep, no Brandon.
It's a little odd, right?
It is a little odd. It's weird that he's leaving us unsupervised, especially for 2 episodes.
Yeah. And and he's going to edit, or maybe not. Who knows?
I think I'm gonna end up editing.
So we're gonna test this out. Nick, for me, being the host of this episode. So it's gonna be interesting. But how are you doing, Trav?
I'm good. Finally had a weekend off. 19 straight days plowing snow is a little monotonous, but here we are. We made it through. Had a relatively good weekend down here for Toledo. I actually got to watch both Griffin games. It's like a minor miracle in and of itself.
Literally a play on the word minor, or no?
No. It's just a reality of the situation. I mean, minor league teams, they play weekends so often that to watch both, they're generally both playing at 7. So this was kind of a nice week for me. I got to kind of watch and enjoy the Griffins. I had to cover for you on Saturday for the first period until you got home.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that. Yeah, those folks are kind of, whatever. Well, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, it's been kind of, I'm thinking back now, I'm like, it's kind of weird. We haven't all been on an episode in a while together.
No, because I missed the one Griffins episode, and I think you had me and Brandon go rogue with Toledo the one week or last week, and then, he's not here this week, so this is just utter chaos. We're so back. Hello, we're back, department. I'd like to file a claim.
Yeah, we're back, but we're not all back, I guess. Brandon is dealing with some sort of bird flu or something, I guess. I'm not really sure what's going on. So let's just say I hope he's feeling better and he's back tomorrow for the Griffins game and for help, because if not, I have to do post-game interviews by myself, and that's going to be terrifying and very interesting. So you might get audio, you might not. I mean, that's what happened last time I had to do it without him. So hopefully we get it figured out, and hopefully you guys get some good post-game interviews out of me tomorrow. So, and a good show for tonight. So, but we got some crazy. This weekend was kind of a crazy series for Grand Rapids against the Moose, and we've got some crazy news to talk about with the organization and what's coming up this week. But before we get into that, do want to ask for a huge favor from all of our listeners, new and old. Please hit that subscribe button. It helps us out so much with the algorithms with YouTube and TikTok and Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. Click that share button, please. The thumbs up button. Click all the buttons. Follow us on all the socials. We're on is TikTok still a thing? I don't even know anymore.
I got a new phone and it's gone. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I tried to open up something the other day and it was gone. So, or Twitter or X or whatever you call it, Blue Skies, Instagram, Facebook. Please follow, please share, please recommend to a friend. It helps us out so much. Leave a comment. Let us know if you like the shorter episodes, the longer episodes, what content keeps you coming back, or what we could improve upon. If you like one of us gone, you like all of us here, you just let us know. Leave a rating. Help us out on this one, and it might help keep my job tonight as host. If you like this crazy chaotic style moving forward. So, and if you can donate, you can join us over at Patreon for some nonsense, some watch-alongs that we have planned coming up, and we have some giveaways coming up too for either tickets and then some special jersey giveaways as well. So. But let's dive into a little bit of roster news. So you guys talked about it a little bit the big tree, the big fella, Mr. Elmer Soderblom got called up on the 21st. So that's about a week ago. We're recording today on January 28th. So I kind of want to talk into this a little bit, as we kind of had a feeling like with Mazur coming in, we kind of speculated maybe somebody was going to get moved up, or somebody had to get moved down, or somebody was going to have to sit out. And Mazur comes in, and Elmer gets promoted basically, and he's played really well. What did you see out of Mr. Elmer in the last 4 games that he's played, or five? Was it 4 or 5 games he's played with us up with the Red Wings?
I don't know. He's been gone a week. The biggest thing I think I've noticed is just he looks comfortable. He looks all around probably a lot more comfortable than he did the first time he was in the NHL when he made the transition over. Not to say that he didn't earn that first look. I mean, he was one of the best players that preseason. He did kind of knock that door down. But, I think he benefited a lot from his time in GR. I didn't get to see a ton of games over the year and a half he was basically down here. So that for me is the one thing, and really too, like, he's come in and been one of the better players, more noticeable players in the bottom 6 for the Wings. So, he's only 23 years old, 7th round pick, I'm pretty sure. Long shot to make it. 6th round pick. Okay, so still a long shot to make it, and he's now approaching 30 games in the NHL. So huge, incredible accomplishment for him. And you've seen it last night, has a big goal, give him the lead, gets the game-winning goal. So, it's crazy how down here he went how many games without getting a goal, and in his 4th or 5th game this year in Detroit, he's already got a goal. So it just shows, like, look, when you work hard and put your mind to something, that you're going to get rewarded, and that's going to be another thing that we're going to get into, is hard work over time and paying your dues. So just love it for the person and the player. And honestly, Detroit, I mean, they're just going on a roll right now. It's crazy to think that they're the number 1 team since December 29th at 11-3-1. That's just, if you would have said that in Thanksgiving, everybody would have called you crazy.
I mean, what changed since then?
I think the biggest thing overall is just coaching change, but that's the obvious thing, and just like a newfound vibe. Like, that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I would say, so Elmer's stats, so he's played 4 games over this week, and he's got the 1 goal, he's got the 1, I thought he had an assist, but just the 1 goal, 1 point. He's averaging about 11 minutes of ice time down there on you said 4th line, right?
He's primarily played on the 4th line.
His last 5 games with the Griffins, he had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. So, I mean, he's putting up the numbers. This was the time for him to go up to the Red Wings. So I'm glad that they made this move. One thing that I like that Todd's been doing is that he's putting more trust into the younger guys. Like, you've seen Albert Johansson getting more regular play time especially on the second line, defensive pairing with Simon Edvinsson. Like, I love that addition. You see Marco being up on the first line with Raymond and Larkin. You see there's more trust. You see Elmer coming up. I mean, he's not being first or second line minutes, but he's still getting a lot of play time. He's making a difference on the score sheets as well. Like, that's just huge. And he's 23. Like, his time when he got pulled up before, I don't think he was ready. Like, you've seen such a big change in Elmer of, like, learning. His skating's been so much more improved. He's using that physical style, like that physical body that he has, and he's using the strength. That's all these things that have come up with Grand Rapids in the last 2 years that he's been out here. So I think now, do you think he comes back down to Grand Rapids?
Well, no, I don't. I don't think you can take him out of the lineup. He's been noticeably one of the better players in the bottom 6. Look, they talk about taking a job. He's well on his way to kind of doing that. There's going to be some difficult roster decisions in the coming few days, possibly. I know they had Petrie skating today. They said Tarasenko was still feeling a little under the weather. The guy that we'll get to next is supposedly making the trip out west with him, which is even cooler for him, which we'll get into. Patrick Kane's still on IR, so as they start to get bodies back, is there going to be a different guy coming back to GR via waivers? Is there a trade? But until that happens, I think we just kind of got to go status quo, and we'll see what happens when that time comes.
A little bit more of a sample size you're looking for.
Yeah. I'd like to see at least to the Four Nations how the pause. So that's another week and a half. So it's going to be an interesting week to see kind of what happens if they get guys back, if who stays, who. But I think overall Elmer's earned that look, and I think it's definitely earned to get an extended run here. They used a regular recall. It wasn't an emergency recall. So, it was a straight, hey, you're getting called up. So come up here and show us what you got. And, Todd has seemed to be happy with how he's played.
I love the goal, just the celebration, just to see Simon, I
Yeah.
Everybody was just so happy that what he scored, I feel like the other thing that's changed besides coaching, which is the obvious, is just the vibes. It's the new guys, the new guys are coming in, they're coming in at the right time and they're producing. You saw Marco last night put two goals, right?
Yep.
You had him, you had Elmer put a goal up, and then Albert's playing really well. So, it's just the new kid vibes are coming in, and it's infectious, and it keeps the fan base hooked, right? They want to see how the eyes are playing. This is the eyes are playing, right? You've got the kids, they're getting time, and that's keeping our attention, and they're winning. So, that helps.
Yeah. And, if you look back to last night, the 3 stars of the game, Lucas Raymond was the first star of the game. Marco Kasper was the second star of the game, and Elmer Soderblom was the third star of the game. Elmer Soderblom's the oldest player in that group, and he's only 23 years old. So, let's not forget that, he's still young. I said to you guys last night, 6 Griffins from last year's Griffins team were in the lineup last night, and they beat a team in the playoffs. So, it's fun what youth can do for you. I've loved that they've given Marco a look on the wing to kind of ease him into the NHL. It's hard. It can be hard on young players making that transition from even the American League to the NHL, playing center. Even just going, and it doesn't matter what route you take. Being a center and being a young center takes time. I look at face-offs as it's a leverage thing. Strength and leverage is a big thing with face-offs. So when you're a younger player, that's a little tougher. And you've seen Bedard struggle, and some other younger centers that throughout their careers struggle. And look where Dylan Larkin started his career. He started on the wing of Henrik Zetterberg. So
not a bad place to start.
No, and now you look at Larkin in that mentor role with Lucas Raymond and Marco Kasper on his left. So it just shows that, it took a little while, but the kids are making impacts. Marco, he's got 11 or 12 points his last 10 games. So it's just an incredible to see these kids start to come in, and the fans have wanted it for years. And then you kind of seen them sign veterans and block these guys, and the fans have gotten restless, and sometimes patience pays off, and you're starting to see it.
Well, speaking of patience, let's move to the big news out of the organization yesterday. Is a guy that we love so much, spent 9 years here, Mr. Dominic Shine. And just let's talk about his play yesterday with the Red Wings.
Yeah, he again didn't look out of place. He knew what his role was. He knew what he was going to do. He knew what he was up there to do. He made a great hit in the corner. He buried that dude in the corner. I think it was in the second period. Look, this is one of the greatest success stories in the league this year, in the past few years. And you've seen it quite a few times. Some guys that are, 28, 29 years old. Dominic Shine's 31 years old. He said in the media availability he had a child in the last couple of years. He considered not playing. He considered retiring and came back, and now he's earned an NHL contract at the age of 31 for this year and next year. Look, this just is there's no other way to describe this outside of, if you put your mind to it, anything's possible. He carved out over 400 games in the minors, 9 seasons in the minors, and finally gets that NHL moment. You can't, and I'm a fan of it. Just, that's everybody's dream, is to get to the NHL. Like, I haven't even really watched the guy that much over the years compared to like you and Brandon, so I can't imagine what you're feeling.
Oh, we were stoked. I mean, we had to move a couple things around to be able to watch him last night. And typically we record on a Monday, and with the season ticket season ticket members practice, and then Dom Shine getting a start. I did not go to the season ticket practice and ended up just coming home to be able to try to catch the game. And just throughout the whole day, just to see all the message, the love, the support through on X or Twitter. Just everybody just so happy for the guy. And even in our media group that we chat, it's just everybody was just super stoked for the guy to be able to get his chance, to get his shot. And I mean, I go back to like Bob Kaiser, like he had spoke on Shine of like, this is a guy that we're all pulling for. Like, he deserves a shot. He needs his chance. And you kind of saw it during training camp too. Like he was out there all the time. He loved wearing the Red Wings jersey. He was out there getting extra reps. He was trying, he looked like he was out there trying to make the team this year. And not to say that like previously that he wasn't. It just, he came into this season with purpose, I felt. And you saw, like last year, we kind of saw him work his way up the lineup. And this year he's been so good, and he's been consistently in the top 2 lines. And his stats are there this year as well. Like, he's usually that enforcer. I mean, if you saw our post blow up yesterday of his fight from a couple years ago, I mean, that was kind of the Dom Shine, like, what is it? Like, that was kind of his role, is what you would see. And this year he's putting up the points. For this year, 40 games played, he's got 11 goals, 21 assists. And he has 89 shots on net, which is tied for first with Elmer, which I thought was kind of funny that they're both up there with the Wings. In his last 5 games, he's got a goal, 6 assists, and he's a +3. So, I mean, he is one of those top guys that deserves a call up. And we talked about it in our other group, is who's getting called up. We saw Kane's out, Tarasenko's out. Like, who gets that call? I'm like, should be Dom Shine. And then they sign him. And I'm like, here we go. We're going big here. And I just love, too, like, the other thing I want to add is Todd McClellan, his post game, he goes, I didn't even know we had a Dom Shine in the organization. Like,
yeah,
he played great. He played, and Dom said too, like, he played a safe game, didn't make mistakes. I thought he played well. He fit right in. I mean, I am excited to see what these next couple games from him look like up in Detroit. And I'm just excited. I'm super excited for him. I'm happy that he got his chance, and hopefully he's up there for a little bit longer than just this week.
Well, it sounds like he's going on the trip this weekend. And, I got to watch Todd's press conference today. And, when you hear a quote of, that wasn't the path back to GR, he had a really good night last night. I mean, he is not wrong. Like, it's just incredible. Like, it's an incredible story. Everybody was so excited. The famous picture was thrown around a bunch. In the group messages. So that's always a good laugh when you see that. I was, when they were up 2, I was like, man, put him out there for the empty net. Like, how crazy would that be? The one thing about this, though, that really was like, me and Kels were like, oh, that sucks. His parents are in Hawaii and missed the game. Like, Maybe they'll be, because they're going out west. Maybe they'll alter plans and leave Hawaii and head to Western Canada. So, if there's an opportunity that he does draw into the lineup up there, you just love it for the person.
Love it for him. I know Dog always. We were joking with Dog about it in the off season, and he's like, "Yeah, I always tell him to get ready to pack his bags to go to Toledo," and because he always starts the season kind of slow. So I think this year he was pretty much had the target set for Detroit, and glad he got that call up. So yeah, he signed a 2-year, $1.5 million contract, and he's waiver exempt, which was
That's a head scratcher. To me, I don't. That's something that if somebody knows, I've tried to learn a lot about contracts and feel like I have a decent grasp on it. It could be the games played, but again, he's played so many American League games. I don't know. So it's an interesting thing. Per Puckpedia, he is waiver exempt. So $775 for this year and next at the NHL level. I would assume that's a 2-way contract. I could be wrong, but that, it's just a great opportunity for him, and I'm so happy for him as a person and a player to carve out that long of a career in the minors and make it is just incredible.
Hometown kid, hometown team, like just put his work in here in Grand Rapids and finally be able to live out his dream. And and it's like the best part too is it's not just one game. He's gonna play multiple games. So hopefully we see some big stuff on that end. But let's pivot and go to this weekend's games. All right. So the Moose, we had to play the Moose, and this was we just played them 2 weeks ago, and we lost both games. And so I'm hoping for a little bit of revenge here. And these games were pretty wild, I felt. Game 1 was on a Thursday night, which is a little odd for us, a Thursday night game. Griffins end up winning this one 5-4. Heavily outshot in this one, 43-29. We were perfect on the power play, 1-for-1, and we went 2-for-2 on the penalty kill. Attendance, I just want to make note of this. It was super low. It was less than 2,000 people there that night for a Thursday
in an
night.
NHL building.
In an NHL building on a Thursday night, which I thought was odd.
When it's -70 in Winnipeg, I can't say I blame people, but
was it?
It probably is.
Walk us through these goals, Travis. So we start off with Mr. Tim Gettinger staying hot. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 games, I believe.
Yeah, great play by Seager along the board at the hash marks, kind of make that little power turn to the boards, and really all he did was make a pass to the middle. Gettinger with a nice redirection and gave the Griffins a lead.
Right in the first minute and a half, and I'm like, okay, this team is came ready to play the Moose and put them in their place after what happened 2 weeks ago. But then CJ Seuss ties it up with 18 minutes and 15 seconds into the first.
This was an interesting one, right? My initial reaction is, I will read it word for word. Moose tied on a redirection that looked high, no review, why, So, and I think that was kind of the consensus in our one group message. I don't know the AHL rulebook enough. I don't know what's reviewable, what's not. Do the officials have to deem it to be reviewable? So that might be maybe a Tyler question. Maybe he can answer that for us.
Yeah, we'll have to get with Tyler. I have been pounding the table for challenges, and I guess I get told every week that it's not a thing in the AHL. So, but it was a questionable. It looked like it was a high stick with the redirection, and we play on. So, come into the second. And I want to say too, that first period, it was very tilted Manitoba's way. They outshot us 18-5. Like it was just, I don't know what was going on. It was just kind of a slow start for the Griffs. I don't know if it was the cold, the jet lag, or not enough energy from the crowd. It was very odd. Ben King comes out second period, blast one in a minute and a half.
Yeah, it looked like another redirection too. It hit something in front. And to fall down 2-1, and then Brad Lambert gets one later that Husso probably wants back, right? It just squeezes through him. I mean, not much to say on the second goal. Really, the third goal is one that you probably got to have.
They credited Parker Ford for that third one.
Okay, it looked like it was okay. That's my apologies then.
You're good.
That maybe that's changed since I made my note too. That could be a scoring change I was unaware of. But again, though, like probably one that they want back. So you find yourselves down 3-1 going into the third period.
And we're outshot again, 15-9. So I'm just like, at this point,
yeah, it wasn't going well.
I'm like, this is freaking terrible. I'm like, why can we not figure out this team? Like, why are we getting pounded on from this team? And a minute in, Joe Snively gets us within one on the power play.
A great play. Takes a shot, follows up his own rebound, picks up the rebound, and just, great patience to outweigh a sprawled out goaltender, slide it in. You get a great play that, I've heard it a lot down here from Pat when Toledo's trailing in the third period. Like, if we can get one early, that can kind of give us some momentum, and I'm sure that was the message, and loud and clear was it heard.
Yeah, because then it got crazy because Andre Betcher then turns around and scores again, or scores right away, 3 minutes and 39 seconds into the period.
Yeah, another great play, and really a great IQ play by Betcher or Becker. How is it, Becker?
Becker.
So it's Becker. So he found that soft spot in the high slot, kind of in that no man's land, top of the circles, but you're in the slot. And a great pass to find him, and really just a one-timer that, they get two quick ones to start the third, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we're tied. And that was almost just the beginning of what was about to happen, because I felt bad for you. You were clipping away, and I'm like, oh, like me and Kels had it on. I was like, oh my God, they scored again. And when Becker tied it, I was like, oh, here we go. Poor Nick.
Yeah, so I'm watching it and I'm like seeing good plays, so I want to clip that and then turn around and Brogan Rafferty ends up putting one in. Literally almost 2 minutes later, from the point.
Yeah, great patience. He got the puck and almost like double clutched, because what he's seen from what I could make out is defenseman's coming, goes to slide to block the shot, and he pumps like he double clutched. And when he slid through, then he made a great shot. And I believe it was, is it Milic that played that night for Manitoba?
Yeah.
You'd have to correct me. It's funny because the first time I seen Milic play was at an ECHL game in Savannah, Georgia, on my honeymoon. It's a little plug for everybody. That's the only reason I know who that goaltender is, because he played for the Norfolk Admirals last year. But just a great play by Rafferty. Like I said, the patience, and then the great shot at top of the circles. He made a great shot to give them the lead, and then all of a sudden they just keep expanding.
Yeah, I finally get a breather and get everything posted where it needed to be. And then Sheldon Dries end up scoring with an assist from Dominic Schein and Brogan Rafferty.
Yeah, that was the ultimate highlight reel goal. Like, come in and just walk. The poor defenseman just got put on roller skates, basically. And then, a great shot. There's not much else to say. Go back, watch it. That's a high skill play by a high skill player, and I'm gonna call it the veteran line, because you've seen it for 2 games, and now that line's been broken up with Shine's call up. But it's what a start to the third period, and they found that momentum, and it stuck with it, and just seemingly everything they shot in that third period was going in.
It was crazy because they ended up outshooting Manitoba this period 15-10. And typically when you see these like big tilts and shots, it's usually power play opportunities, right? And this game had such a low amount of calls for both teams. There was only 3 penalties called throughout the whole game. So they really had to kind of generate their own opportunities here. I think I called, and I don't know if it made, I'm not sure if we talked on air or off air, but I mean, I really called out the defense. I was like, we just need more points from the D. We need more involvement from the defense. And we turn around and you've got on Joe Snively's goal, you get an assist from William Wallander. Becker's goal, you get an assist from Shibuya and Brogan Rafferty. Brogan Rafferty then scores. Then you get Sheldon Dries with the goal, who gets an assist from Brogan Rafferty again. So you see your defense really picking up in this game and getting involved in the offense and getting those points up there, which helps create a lot of space, I felt.
Well, it's secondary scoring, and when you're getting it from your defense, you take that to the bank and run every time you can get it. It's not like you got Eric Carlson back there either. So it's like, you got a lot of young prospects mixed with some good veterans, and it's like Rafferty. I mean, he had a great night. Probably one of the best defensemen, especially point wise for the Griffins. Would you say 3 points? So, just a gutsy comeback win. And Brandon even said, he's like, man, something about coming back in Manitoba, or that might have been you. I don't remember who it was, but it was said in our group message.
It's just crazy. I don't know. This was like an overall team win, I felt too, because like you get Gettinger, who started on the third line. I think throughout the game he got promoted up to the first line, replacing Mazur on that top line. And then you get Snively, who's a veteran, top line guy, gets some action there. But Becker, Rafferty, Doucette, Carter Mazur even gets in with his first game. He gets an assist, which I think that got reassigned later on. That got adjusted to the AHL. And then you get Brogan again. I mean, you're getting it from all angles here of the offense. So I thought it was a great game. And then also, well, I wouldn't say it was a great game, but I feel like they really had to claw back and kind of find that game in the last 20 minutes to take advantage of it. The other guy I want to kind of point out here is Ville Husso. 43 saves, or 43 shots on, and he saved 39. I mean, he kept the team in it as they were just getting pounded the first 2 periods.
Yeah, the first 2 periods weren't good. Like, I think I even said, I was like, this is not good. I think I even said, like, they look horrible, and the only one that was really seemingly had anything going for him was Gettinger. I think I even said that. And then Husso, like you said, keeping him in it. I mean, yeah, he gave up 3 in the first 2 periods, but could have easily been 5 or 6. Like,
yeah, like I think the deflection, a lot of these goals that I feel like I say this every week, but I feel like a lot of these goals are coming from the point, and they're just deflections in, and that's if you see
tough.
where there's nothing that I don't know what they need to do to address it or how to fix it. You've been watching the game a lot more than I have, and you've played it. Is there anything that they can do to close that down or stop with the deflections?
I mean, biggest thing is, just box out maybe a little bit better. Like, you got to move bodies, get them out of the way of the goaltender. And the other thing is just clog the lanes. Like, don't let the shots through, block more shots. But you know what? You're going to have them bounces against you. Like, hockey is that's just how it is. Like, some of the, craziest goals are just weird ones. Like, that's not always the highlight reel goals, but sometimes it's just like you can get a stick on it. You could be standing in the face-off circle and a puck just comes down to you and you get a redirection and it can go in. Like, any shot's a good shot. They say that in overtime, but really in the reality of the situation, as long as you got to get it towards the net, good things can happen. And that's kind of seemingly how Manitoba generated a lot of offense.
But we got the points. That's what's going to matter in the standings for us. Game 2 against the Moose. This was a sleepy game at 3 o'clock. It's such a weird time for a Manitoba game. But it brought out a few more people. 4,000 in attendance for this game. Griffins win this one 2-1. Outshot again, 34-26. They go 1 for 3 on the power play and 1 for 2 on the penalty kill. No scoring first 2 periods. Grand Rapids outshot the first period of this game too, 13-3. Just absolutely tilted. Second period was a little bit closer. It was 12-12 for shots. And then third period is where all the action started. 6 minutes in, Parker Ford scores on the power play, and then we get it back 2 minutes later from Sheldon Dries from Dominic Shine.
Yeah, that was a great play by Shine. Great patience, take it around the net, and the vision to see Dries there. And that pass, that's an elite pass to come around the corner on your backhand, being a right-hand shot, through the crease, through traffic, and put it on the tape of a guy that's, he was hotter than a firecracker last weekend. It just seemed like anything Dries shot went in the net. But, a great play, great vision, and to get your team right back in it.
He then turns around, and with the last minute of the game, Sheldon Dries takes the lead. Pass from Joe Snively and Dom Shine again on the power play.
Oh, this was beautiful. This is puck movement to a T, right? Tic-tac-toe. Shine to Snively, Dries, tap in. I think I could have scored that. I mean, it was just literally it was a tap in. Christ, if you can't hit an open 4x6 with a goaltender already down, yeah, I don't know. But great play. I mean, if you go back and watch it, that's literally tic-tac-toe hockey. Great passing, great puck movement, great movement as a whole. Somebody said they hate the power play, and we're going to get into that. It's funny. I was sitting there, and you said that, and I'm like, they got that late power play. I was like, they're going to score on this power play, and Nick's going to be so pissed.
Well, and what I want to bring to that goal specifically is that everybody touched the puck there too. Everybody on the power play touched it. It was quick passing. He ends up being wide open. This was fantastic because the Moose literally did this to us a few games ago where they scored in the last minute of the game, and I think it ended the shutout that I feel like Kosa was in net for, but I might be wrong. It might have been Hoos. So it was good to see that little revenge and send them, I can't say packing because they were already home, but send them home early with getting that last goal at the last minute. So especially from our veterans. Our veterans literally carried us that game. Whereas the night before or 2 nights before, you see a lot of the younger guys, you get a whole team effort there on the scoring side in the third period. Whereas this game, you kind of see more of your take that jump and carry us through this game.
Yeah, overall 2 wins, 4 points. You take that anywhere. It doesn't matter who you're playing, if it's the last place team, first place team. If you go into a building on the road, you win 2 games, you come home with 4 points, everybody's going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, that's definitely a switch from the last week or for the last time we played the Moose. So we'll go into a quick ad break, and then we'll come back and we'll break down some of the plays over the weekend.
The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And we are back. So let's break down some of these players over the weekend. Obviously, we want to break down Dom Shine, but we gave him his flowers earlier. And Mr. Brogan Rafferty had a good weekend, but we kind of gave those flowers away too. But you wanted to talk about a little bit of an unknown player, right? Mr. Andre Becker.
Yeah, I just think he had a really good night Friday. I really thought the play where he scored, that awareness to find that open ice, that high slot area, and to, find the back of the net. I mean, I know it's a guy that doesn't put up a ton of points. He's finding his way into the American League. So hopefully that's something that, as he continues to grow and develop, he can kind of ultimately just keep growing and maybe blossom into a bottom 6 player that the Griffins could really benefit from some secondary scoring down the road if he can find that rhythm.
They have definitely. So I'll just give it a little bit of a draft profile on him. He was drafted in the third round in 2024. Uh, hasn't played a whole lot of games. They kind of had him sit for the first couple of weeks. I think he was recovering from an injury, but had 27 games played for this year. He's got 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points so far. And a lot of these points lately have been coming on the power play. They've moved him over on the power play unit, and it's been working. Giving him a little bit more space, I feel, has helped him get more comfortable. And I think that's a good way to get him going, to be honest.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
The next guy you want to talk about is Mr. Seabass, Sebastian Cossa, your favorite.
Yeah, he's kind of my guy. So I want to go into this just because when he came back, you didn't see the save percentage numbers that you seen before the call up to the Detroit Red Wings. He came back kind of, in all the goals again, doesn't tell the full story on some of maybe the tougher nights. You look at the save percentages being sub 900. But you look at the last 3 starts, 939 save percentage. He seemed to kind of find that rhythm again. Took him a little bit, but that's okay, right? Still growing, still developing. But to carry that 939 over the last 3 starts, it kind of points to maybe he's found that elite level again. And the Griffins are going to need that. I know they've had great starts from Campbell and Husso as well, but the Red Wings are going to want him to play probably the important games down the stretch and into the playoffs. So, if he can come back to that elite rhythm that he had to start the year, not saying that he lost it, just saying that, he had a few games where he was sub 900. And again, all the goals don't necessarily tell a story. You can think of a couple where maybe not all his fault, but still, to see him bounce back and have 3 really strong games, I think is going to bode well for him as they enter this enter the break, the minor All-Star break, and he gets to go to the All-Star game. So that's a pretty cool thing for him in Austin Watson. But just wanted to point out that he's back to carrying that elite level number that he was having at the beginning of the year in the last 3 starts he's had.
He started 40 games last year for the Griffins. Currently, he's got 23 games played. There's 32 games left. So he's got to play about half of those to match his total from last year. And I know the organization wanted him to be, even Dan Watson said it in the beginning of the season, is that they want him to be the workhorse. They want him to get the majority of the starts. So he's got to play at least 17 of those to match his total. But looking at these stats, and maybe we need to put out a little Sebastian Cossa thank you or graphic out there here shortly. Pressure on Brandon for this. But last year, his stats, he was at 2.41 goals against. This year's at 2.25. So he's even lowered what he had last year, which was phenomenal for the year that he had last year. Save percentage went from a .913 last year to a .920. So he's getting even better than what he was last year, which I think is insane because he was already playing at a top level last year.
Absolutely. Look, he's a top prospect. He's the top goaltending prospect in the organization at this moment. Some people say Trey, but until he makes a pro start, you can't really compare the two. You just can't. Cosa's a lot further along. He's a lot closer to the NHL. So it's good to see that he's kind of on that pace to play at least 40 again. Obviously, this year's a little different, having 2 extra veterans down there in Grand Rapids. So they can kind of afford to keep him fresh, which honestly, that could benefit them in the playoffs. Like, if you think about it, you don't have to really overwork him down the stretch. You can keep him fairly fresh, fairly healthy, and then playoffs come around and hey, you're starting every night. Because I think you kind of seen that a little bit, like maybe last year in the playoffs. I don't know. You'd have to tell me.
He got the majority of the starts in the playoffs.
Well, he started, I think, every playoff game. But if you look at I don't have his numbers pulled up, but I don't think they were quite as good as what they were in the regular season. Now, granted, that's a much smaller sample size, but at the same time, like, you get that learning experience last year. It prepares you for this year. You got 2 extra veterans down there with him. Ville Husso's played a lot of NHL games. Jack Campbell's a former first-round pick. Like, he gets to pick the brains of two guys that are very good at points in their career, very good NHL goaltenders. So, again, they can keep him pretty fresh. They don't have to overwork him. The days of goaltenders playing 65 games are over. 60 games are over. You're probably looking at, your true number ones probably playing 50-ish and giving your backups somewhere around 30, 55 maybe max. So you're just kind of in that range, and he's shown that, he's made the improvements, like you just said, numbers-wise, and it's going to be fun to monitor. I'm sure he'll get to that 40-game mark. I don't see any reason why he won't, but I don't think there's going to be as much, like, maybe we got to lean on you because there's not a better option. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You don't have to force extra starts on him is kind of what I'm trying to say. You can kind of let him, again, sit back, stay fairly healthy, and then when in the playoffs get here, like, hey, it's go time. Like, you're playing every night.
I mean, you kind of saw that once he came back from Detroit, they really put Hoos and Campbell in and rotated those two for a little bit, and people were starting to wonder if he got injured or if there was something that he was working on, but honestly, I think he was just trying to get rested up and just kind of reset, and going back into the rotation that Waddy puts him on. So,
right.
I do have his stats so last year in the playoffs, he was at 2.72 goals against with a .900 save percentage. So not as good as a regular season, but
much smaller sample size.
And we played some pretty tough teams of Rockford and then Milwaukee, which made it pretty far in the playoffs last year. So anything else you want to add to Mr. Kosa?
Nope.
Mr. Sheldon Dries.
Boy, is this guy on a roll. 5 goals his last 5 games and 7 points in his last 10 games. He's really found his stride. He was one of the big veteran additions that Detroit made for Grand Rapids. He's kind of taken that role on along with Shine, now obviously in Detroit, but and even Joe Snively. But to see Dries find that scoring touch, I think is really something the Griffins need. I feel like they don't have that Berge guy this year.
Yeah.
It's just a reality of the situation. Like, I don't have those stats in front of me pulled, but I don't think anybody's going to touch what Berggren did last year, especially with Shine. Well, Shine may have been able to, but if this call-up lasts longer, it's like I just don't see that truly, like, solely offensive guy that's going to break the doors down like Berggren last year, and to see Dries find that offensive rhythm, that could be huge for them in the second half of the season. So again, 5 goals his last 5 games and 7 points in his last 10. He's really starting to find it, and GR needs it.
Yeah, I was super excited about this signing on the offseason because I saw what he had done with his previous clubs, and it's a breath of fresh air. I mean, we don't have that Berge guy this year to be able to just put when the game's on the line, you give it to Berge, and he's able to put that puck in the net with some amazing finishes at the end of the year. I'm pulling up stats right now. Berge finished with 24 goals and 32 assists. I mean, we're a little over the halfway part, and the only guy Dries is right there, 17 goals. He's a little bit short on the assists with 7, but a little bit of a different lineup last year too that Berge was able to utilize with Simon as his with the D man and Mazur for almost a full year. So that did help boost his numbers at that point. So Sheldon Dries, I mean, you're looking for that veteran leadership. He comes in. This game they put him on the second line with Joe Snively and Dominic Shine, and they took over. I mean, this lineup is fantastic. It's gonna be interesting. We'll get into that in the mailbag in overtime of kind of who's gonna replace Shine on this line or what they end up doing. Definitely makes for an interesting situation now with Shine out for a little bit with the big club. So, what you got? Anything else you want to add to Sheldon?
No, I've pretty much made every point I think I had on that.
And we kept this guy for last. Mr. Carter Mazur makes his return this week against the Manitoba Moose and picks up that 1 assist. But how did you feel that he played that first game? I believe he was out there. That first game, he was out on the first line with Danielson and Austin Watson.
Well, I think it's tough when you miss as many games as he did for him to jump back in at the top 6 role, which you ultimately seen him he did slide down, which isn't, it's not a bad thing. Like, he's missed a lot of games. It takes time to get back to game shape. You miss that much time. Yeah, you're in shape. It's not like he's out of shape by any means, but there's a huge difference between being in shape and game shape. And there's no conditioning stint. You're getting thrown in the lineup. So, and it's not like they're going to send him to Toledo for a conditioning stint. That's just kind of silly.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, to me, I think he didn't really do anything wrong. He had a helper, so you have to be pleasantly surprised. It's just good to see him back on the ice. That's a guy that was close to maybe pushing for a spot at some point this year. Had he not gotten hurt, it's probably between him and Soderblom who gets the call up. So, obviously, Carter gets hurt, Elmer takes advantage of it and gets a call up. So that could have very easily been Mazur. So, yeah. So I just thought, it's good to see him back. I think he's only going to get better. He's only going to get back into the rhythm. Just wanted to touch base on him, and it was good to see him back on the ice.
It was good to see him back on the ice. Top line, I was surprised that Waddy put him there to ease him back into the lineup, right? Give him top line minutes. And then you kind of saw that switch in the third period where they moved Gettinger up at the end there. And then they go back to Manitoba the second night, and then they end up putting Mazur back down on the third line with Doucette and Seeger. And he's able to kind of ease his way back in. I was surprised that he got the assist on that in the first game back. It was good to see. It was first game, right?
Yep, on Brogan Rafferty's goal.
Seeing him get an assist on the first game back that was fantastic. I didn't see it. I think the AHL adjusted that assist to him later on because I think I had somebody else on that assist, but I have to go back to our tweets to see. But it was good to see him get involved, see him get the assist. He's going to ease back in. I think this week with practice, he's going to kind of know more where he's at, and maybe he's back up on that. I think, to be honest, he jumps to that second line and he replaces Shine on that second line. And I think that's probably a good spot for him. I know I'm jumping ahead, but I think that's kind of where you see him. And you probably see Hunter Johannes come in and take in the Mazur role on that Doucette and Seeger line.
We'll save that for later.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with the player breakdowns. I was kind of getting ready to go right into questions.
Well, I just want to touch base on one thing real quick.
Yeah.
Special
the power play?
Just the special teams as a whole. I mean, you look at their special teams the last 5 games, power play 6 for 13, 46%, 12 for 15 on the penalty kill for 80% for a total of 126%. So special teams, they've really had it going the last few games. And then you look at the season total, and they're at 103.9. So right at that 100 number, which is good to see. I'd love to see him get to 20% on the power play. Then you're starting to kind of creep up that overall ranking. But 6 for 13, 46%. You just had to point that out. But that's all I really got.
What do you think's been the biggest change for him? Because we've been asking Waddy every week after the post game, what's going on with power play? What's going on with power play? And it seems like since we've asked him that, it has been significantly better.
I haven't been able to watch enough games to really nail that down. But you see where they're starting to, some of them it's moving the puck quicker, being a lot crisper. That's some of it. Get the puck to the net, crash the net. So just simple things. Sometimes less is more with a power play, and I think that's kind of where Grand Rapids could benefit. And overall, 46% in the last 5 games. You're going to take that to the bank anytime. That might be all-time great.
Yeah, I mean it's been clicking, and it's been clicking really well. And I know Brandon kind of teased Waddy after the game the other day that Hawken was ready to come up and it's on that PTO for him if he needed help on that power play. And I think since then it really has been fixed. I don't want to say fixed. I want to see a little bit more, but I'm not loving the style. But if it's working right now, let's keep running and see until it doesn't, I guess. But I would say the biggest change that I've seen personally is that it's been it's been a lineup change. Becker being in has helped. They've brought a little bit of the newer guys like Doucette's been on the power. I believe Doucette's been on the power play as well. So you've seen different players on there. They've got different looks with bringing two defensemen on there, with Brogan and Vollander at one point. Were both there. Then you've seen Brogan and Shai Buyam as well. So you're getting those helpers from the D man, and those are the D guys you want to see on the power play, because Buyam's got a great he can pass, he can set the guys up, and I mean he's like 14 assists I feel like at this point, and Brogan's got a shot and he can also set it up. So getting help on from the defense has been highly helpful. The other thing too is what you saw with Manitoba is a lot quicker passes. I want to see more movement because that really opened up, but it's just those quicker passes is what they were beating Manitoba with a lot. And you were seeing a lot of open guys with good chances, good looks, where they were able to benefit. So I know you were gonna kill me on the power play, but I just want to see more cycling, more rotation throughout. Because that opens up guys. If everybody's standing around, it's easy to stand in front of a guy that's standing there, right? It's easy to defend a guy that's just standing. So I like to think back on Rip Hamilton with a basketball. Like, that guy was always freaking moving, and he was hard to defend because they didn't know where he was headed. So I don't know.
It's great analysis.
A little bit of basketball. This is what happens when Brandon leaves us.
God, my gears are grinding that you just compared hockey and basketball.
Hey, but you know what? Waddy, when we interviewed Waddy in the offseason too, he says he likes to take things from different sports and try to implement them in. So maybe that's something that he can implement if he's listening. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a fix. But it's weird every time we call something out, it does get fixed and it does change. It's weird. Like, we asked about defensemen getting more involved, and here we are with Buyam, Brogan, and Vollander all getting points over the weekend. So it was good. We're headed in the right direction.
Absolutely.
All right, so you ready to take in some questions from our listeners?
Yeah. Always
right.
ready. So
we kind of alluded to this one. This one comes from our friends at Red Wings Prospects. You're good friends with this guy, Trav. Shine being called up on the road trip. What do you expect? Who do you expect to fill in on the Sheldon Dries, Joe Snively line?
There's a couple ways you could look at it. I don't mind your take with Mazur. It's not a bad take at all. If you want to keep that veteran presence, that veteran line together, I would say Gettinger. But that's kind of going back to, he's riding a hot hand right now. So, it would kind of make sense. But those would be my two, Mazur and Gettinger, myself, just based off how they've been playing. And honestly, how well Dries is playing, just give him the puck, he's going to score. So those are my two.
Would you want to see Cross Hanas or Doucette get a chance up there?
I just look at that line last weekend with the three veterans. They were playing so well. That's what kind of leads me to Gettinger. Mazur play style, I think, would create some space for those guys, and has, they all have enough skill to play with them. Let's be real. But I just think, I think the most sense is Mazur or Gettinger. Nothing against the other guys. I just think style-wise, it makes the most sense.
I agree. I'd agree. But you know what you could also see this weekend? You could see him going 11-7. Just not have the other forward and load up on the D.
Waddy's, yeah. Yeah, you could. It's definitely an option. It's going to be an interesting weekend with Shine called up because he's been a heart and soul guy for them for so long that, that's a big voice leaving the room. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up.
Definitely gives somebody, maybe one of the younger guys, an opportunity to take advantage of some extra ice time that they are going to get with this opening. So I kind of want to stick on this with Shine. Do you guys think Shine got the call up over Watson because the Wings are worried Watson might get claimed when they send him back down?
I don't think so. I think they seen what Shine was doing this year, and, he's earned it. Not saying Watson hasn't, but Watson's been so good with Nate that I think that's why they don't want to break that pairing up. That would be my guess. Generally, if you can get a pair together, you can plug and play a third guy on and off periodically. And Watson's been with Nate all year. So I think, Watson kind of knows Nate well. Not to say that that's why they didn't call him up. To lose him to waivers, yeah, I mean, with him being at 775, that's very affordable for a lot of teams, especially, like some of the playoff teams could use that heavy body for a playoff run. That's absolutely it's an option that teams would consider. Definitely a possibility, but I think they called Shine up just because he's earned it, and I think they want to keep Watson with Nate because Nate's played pretty decent with Watson as a whole.
This question came from Dilly Pucks too, so I want to give some credit there. You saw in the beginning of the season, Watson got called up. He played a couple games for Detroit, and then you saw Joe Snively, right, got called up. Either Joe or Sheldon Dries got called up earlier in the season. For Detroit.
But it was never announced either, which was weird. But yeah,
they didn't play, but they got. I think Watson played, but I don't think Joe Snively or Sheldon Dries played. I think they were just there for emergency recall, just in case when the flu was going around the locker room. So it's definitely a possibility. He is an all-star for the AHL. He has played games in the NHL. He's had a long career. Austin Watson has, and it would be devastating, I would say, to lose that guy based off of his presence in the locker room and in the lineup. I mean, he's kind of like the glue, I don't want to say the glue guy, but he's a veteran leadership there that the team really needs.
He's a heart and soul guy.
He's a heart and soul guy, and losing him would be a huge blow to the organization, or at least to the Griffins organization. So, which is funny because in the beginning of the season, I was like, I don't really care for the guy, and I fell in love with the guy now as the player. So, I would hate to see him get claimed off of waivers, and it's smart to protect him. I mean, especially his play with Nate and how they've kind of been a good pair throughout the season. I don't know who else they could have called up, to be honest. I mean, they already had Elmer. I think Dom Shine, we've been calling for the last year and a half, that he deserves a shot, and he was able to take advantage and get that call up. If Mazur was healthy this year, it probably would have been Mazur, if it wasn't for Shine. Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, most likely. It's probably a good point. If Mazur had not missed games, Mazur if they didn't call Elmer up first, would have been probably Mazur, and then the second would have probably been Soderblom. So that's probably your pecking order, yeah. If given everybody was healthy.
This one came from a Patreon listener, Elaine Shercliffe. The name sounds familiar, but she wants to know who asked the best post-game questions. That's hard for you to answer, Trav, because you're not down there with us for post-game, but
is she asking about the three of us? me, you, or Brandon, stylistically, they're just so much different that I've seen one in Grand Rapids. Like how much different it is. It's way different. You guys are in the locker room. I'm in a hallway. I get one-on-ones. You guys can have a crowd of people. So like,
Yeah, it's
it's
night and
different.
day.
You guys get to write stuff down and go. Like I kind of gotta fly by the seat of my pants because I don't want to look at a paper and then look over. And yeah, I don't know.
I would have to if we're gonna vote between the three of us, I would say it's probably Travis, Brandon, and then me. I am the last because I don't ask a whole lot. I just let Brandon kind of do his thing, which is
Are you
which
moral
is fine.
support?
Yeah, really, I am. And like my brain, the way it works, I'm just like all over the place. So I'm very distracted with everything going on. So it's hard for me to kind of ask, but I don't mind asking the questions. Sometimes I'll write them down and then Brandon just asks them because it gets kind of crazy of like him there, me there. Sometimes we have Wood TV 8. Sometimes we have Tyler Cool from M Live, who we're good friends with. We have Andrew Rinaldi, who we're good friends with from the Calder Times. And then we have Elaine Shercliffe as well from Grace by Rain. And then we've got another, it's Hockeytown Media, who's also down there some nights with us. So between all of them, I would say probably Elaine asks pretty good questions throughout.
The Cleveland one she asked Gettinger was a good one.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Those games are always a blast to be able to down there. Oh, and Max Baltman, we were down there for when the Winged Wheel guys were down there too. So and he has really good questions as well. So but yeah, I don't know how much more to go into that. And that was all for listener questions. Posted twice. So anything you want to add, Trav?
No, I mean, it was just nice to sit down and watch them for 2 games.
These were not great games to watch, I'll be honest, buddy.
You wouldn't say, it's funny you say that because they won both games, but 2/3 of them, both nights, they really played 2/6 of the weekend really well, if you think about it. But
it did.
No, it's just another good week. All-Star game's coming up for you guys, isn't it? Sunday and Monday? Next week?
Yes, I believe so.
In Coachella?
Yes, it's in Coachella.
So that'll be a good break for everybody. I know it's not very long, but some of the guys got to do a lot of air miles here. But that's really all I got. Just get ready for the second half. I call it the second half after the All-Star break. It's probably not truly a second half, but in games played. But especially for Toledo, they got like 30 to go. It's just it's been a fun season so far. I mean, I look at, like I said, the All-Star break's kind of my halfway point. The development of some of the younger players has been exciting to watch. And just to where this team could go in the future, what does it look like now with these call-ups going on? Like who comes back, who doesn't? Like it's going to be interesting. So that's really where I'm at right now.
Yeah, we've got a couple games before then. So we've got Wednesday. I don't know when this episode will drop. Hopefully tomorrow. But we've got the game tomorrow against Rockford. So that's going to be interesting with the amount of call-ups we have up in Detroit. See how the lineup looks. And then we've got Colorado Eagles coming to town for Friday and Saturday. And then Austin Watson and Sebastian Coe jump on a plane and go all the way to Coachella to play in the All-Star Skills Competition, which is Sunday at 9. This is going to be on Flow Hockey, NHL Network, and TSN. And then on Monday is the All-Star Challenge, which is the game, I believe. And you were correct of being in Coachella. Next year it's in Rockford. So it's a kind of a break, kind of not. We've got, 30 games left we'll have 29 games left after those 3 that are played. So we'll do our halfway midseason report probably next episode for Grand Rapids. Definitely been an interesting season so far. I do want to go through just the standings real quick before we finish up. Grand Rapids is still sitting in the first place. Texas Stars are right behind them with 49 points. Grand Rapids is sitting at 52 points in first place. Texas Stars at 49. Milwaukee at 46. Chicago at 42. Rockford at 38. Iowa 31. And the Moose with 24. Just looking for overall, I think we're sitting third with Hershey at 57. Laval at 55, Calgary at 58. So fourth in the league. If my math is right. Right? Does that sound right?
I think so.
So
One more piece.
yeah.
So I haven't done it in a while, and I pulled her up. We got a new leader.
Oh.
We got a new leader.
We gotta give an update of the in-season cup.
Yeah, so we got a new leader here. It's been way too long since really we've talked about this. Nick is in the lead with 40 days.
40 days.
Washington Capitals, the longest amount of time with the cup spent. 21 days have really helped you out. I'm in second at 38, and then Brandon is 32. Now Brandon does have the cup currently with Vancouver. Nick's longest win streak is 9, Brandon's is 6, and mine is 7. You have 9 title reigns, so you've had the cup 9 different times.
Nice.
Brandon's had it 8, and I have had it 11. So that just kind of goes to show you how many times you have it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be the champion. So really, Washington, man, Washington has 21 days, and the next closest team, oh, shocker, Nick has it, Tampa with 10. So
Nice.
it's just it's fun to watch. There's a few, each of us have a couple teams that haven't had it yet. Minnesota has yet to have it. Vegas has yet to have it. The Ducks, you got the most that have not had it. I only have 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Boston, Seattle for you, along with the Islanders, Kings, Ducks, and Sabres. And then Brandon has the Wings, Devils, Flyers, Jackets, and Flames. So those are all your teams that have not won it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just,
It's
it's
crazy.
a lot.
It's crazy the Wings haven't had it with the win streak that they've been on. Or like the crazy record they've had.
It's just funny, right? Like, because you could go the whole season and never have it because you never play for it. You might not ever play for it. So, it's just one of the things that is kind of fun about this whole thing. It's funny too because if you look at Washington, their longest streak is 9 days, and they have 21 total days with the cup. So that's the longest streak, and the next closest from what I'm seeing is 6. So, or no, 7 with the Florida Panthers. So, it's just a fun little tidbit we did this year. Be interesting to see who comes out on top at the end. Got probably about 30-ish games still to go, because this ends at the end of the regular season. So,
Right.
It's just fun to you sit here and look at this Excel sheet, and you're like, I think the last time we updated it was in like the very beginning. So we'll have to monitor this as we go a little bit better. But, Washington, man, you got to be a Capitals fan right now. I know you want the Ovechkin Screaming Eagle jersey. You might have to buy one now if he brings you the cup home.
Oh my gosh. And they were so bad last year. So I was like, I'm just if the Wings aren't in it, it's Washington, it's Seattle for me. Like Ovi's one of my favorite players. If he's in town, I'm always trying to get tickets. And I don't know. It was just that time when he came into the league against Sydney. It was him or Sydney. And I'm like, I don't like Sidney Crosby. It's just the Penguin, he's crybaby. And like the Wings rivalry between the two and the Cups, back-to-back Cups, like helped fuel that too. And I just like Ovechkin was just this goofy Russian kid that was playing really well. And I was like, he's my guy. He's my player that I'm going to follow. And those Washington jerseys are just, I love them. I love the Screaming Eagle ones.
You know what's one thing we didn't talk about either? Really, this doesn't even pertain to us, but just for your thoughts, the Mikko Rantanen trade.
Oh yeah,
like dude, that was nuts, right? And look at one of the pieces that was involved in this, right? Like
Taylor Hall.
Yeah, he's been a part of two of the biggest blockbuster deals in the last decade. Like, if you think about it, Mikko Rantanen, probably the biggest trade in the last few years, right? I would say it's a bigger trade than the Jack Eichel trade was. Just because there was this like big unknown. I think you kind of knew Eichel was going to move. It was just a matter of when. Rantanen, there was this unknown. And then like for Taylor Hall, like he's involved in this deal. And like the most famous tweet of all time is it's 1-for-1 Taylor Hall for Adam Larson. Like seriously, two of the biggest like blockbuster deals like in the last like, and you know, you don't think of Adam Larson as a blockbuster deal, but at the time that was huge. Adam Larson for Taylor Hall, and now Taylor Hall goes with Mikko Rantanen to Carolina. So just a quick NHL tidbit.
It's crazy to me that this guy's been traded so much as a number one pick, like just all over the place, and like he hasn't really been. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he hasn't really played to a number one pick, right?
Well, I mean, he won the MVP with New Jersey. That was probably his best, accomplishment of his career. Is he was an MVP. He won the MVP with the Devils that one year. But it's just crazy, man. Like that was it, and that happened on Friday night. I think the Wings were playing, and then like group messages are blowing up left and right. Mikko Rantanen's leaving Colorado, and I'm at the Walleye game. Red Wings are playing. It's just like everything that could possibly go crazy that night did. And, it's not very often you see the big names get traded mid-season anymore. So I just thought it was a fun little tidbit. I mean, it's a hockey thing. I know it's not. I know we're not an NHL team or NHL podcast or podcast that covers any of those organizations, but just thought it was a fun little piece.
Do you think he resigns with Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't give up. You don't give up Nietzsche's and a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, and I think it was Jack Jury to not re-sign him. I think they're going to hand him a blank check, and it's going to be right in the number, and we'll figure it out. So they don't go all in a lot, Carolina. So that's a tell sign that they're all in. So
definitely not good for us Wings fans being in the same division. So
same conference, not
same
division.
conference. Sorry,
So, we got to make the playoffs first.
And that's still I feel is a ways away. I should probably do an update. You did an update for the Cup. I should probably do one for Sound the Horn.
If you got the statistics right there.
Yeah, I've got the stats. These were we are just because we're not posting videos or posting it on TikTok because we just didn't know what the future of TikTok was. We are still doing Sound the Horn. I think we only missed like 1 or 2 games throughout this entire season, so pretty good. Number 1 is you, buddy, Travis. Number 1 with 52 points. Zach is right behind you from Hockeytown. Wow.
You're making this edit fun, buddy.
This is why I was trying to keep these short. Hockeytown rundown. Zach is second with 51 points. Elaine Shercliffe with 48. Andrew Rinaldi with 35. Carlo right behind him with 33. I'm right behind him with 31. And then Brandon just hasn't been able to get out of the basement, so he's at 22 points. Is where we're at, and it's been a couple. I think it's been about 3 or 4 games since we've updated, but we'll have I usually do an update once a month on that. So it's still anybody's game. It's been real close. It's been real fun. It's been crazy to see a lot of the same picks are being picked every week. But yeah, we're still doing it. We just didn't know the future of TikTok, so we just kind of stopped doing the videos for a while, but still making the picks through our messages. So I'm hoping the TikTok, I don't know. We're going to figure something out here soon.
I lost it, so it's fine.
Well, you lost TikTok for sure, and I was never on it because I'm an old guy. So that's it, right? That's all we got?
Yep, that's all we got.
That's full time. So got to thank our sponsor of the show, DraftKings, and of course, Everything Hockey Clothing Company. Make sure you head over to everythinghockey.com. Use code WEST, saves you a few dollars on your order, and helps supports us as well. And they've got a couple hoodies that they're giving away as a flash giveaway. So make sure you enter in that. And of course, the Hockey Podcast Network for being great partners with us. But without our Patreon subscribers, the show would not be possible. Check it out. Very cheap, affordable plans over there for everyone. $1, $5, $10. We give unedited episodes, no ads. I think they're posted before the public gets them too. You have to check me on that. Head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West podcast. We're also doing some giveaways. We're going to do some virtual shows, some live shows, live streaming with you guys here soon as it stops snowing for Travis down in Ohio. Got to thank our members that are on there. We've got a new member that just got added, which was CB55, Claire Boughton. Hopefully I pronounced that correct. We've got Randy, who's always been with us, Michael Asante, who's been with us, Lori, John in Florida, Griffin, Elaine Grace, Derek Sleezer, Alan, and that is it for the moment. So a couple episodes coming up, a couple extra giveaways. I know we've got some jerseys to give away. But that is it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like, the subscribe button, share, retweet, give us a rating, leave a comment, tell us where we were wrong, or tell us where you think we're right. But that's it. See you next week. Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.